Isaiah chapter 15. The burden of Moab. For in the night that Ar is devastated, Moab is ruined. For in the night that Kir is devastated, Moab is ruined. He has gone up to the shrine to Dibon, to the high places to weep. Moab wails over Nebo and Medeba. Every head is bald, every beard is shaven. In their streets they wear sackcloth, in their house steps and in their plazas everyone wails, weeping profusely. Heshbon and Elealeh cry out, their voice is heard as far as Jahaz. Therefore the soldiers of Moab cry aloud. His soul faints within him. My heart cries out for Moab. Her fugitives are as far as Zoar, as a 3-year-old heifer. For by the ascent of Luhith they go up with weeping. From the way of Horonaim they raise a cry of distress. The waters of Nimrim are desolate. The grass is withered away. The new grass withers. There is nothing green. Therefore the riches they had gotten and whatever they had stored they carry over the wadi of willows. For the cry has gone around the border of Moab, the wail to Eglaim, and the wailing to Beerlem. For the waters of Dimon are full of blood, but I will bring on Dimon even more, a lion for those escaping from Moab, and for those remaining in the land. Isaiah chapter 16. Send lambs to the ruler of the land, from Salem the desert to the mountain of the daughter of Zion. For like fluttering birds scattered from a nest, so will the daughters of Moab be at the fords of Arnon. Give counsel, execute justice, cast your shadow like a night, and at noonday hide the refugees, do not betray the fugitive. Let my refuges stay with you. Be for Moab a hiding place, for the face of the destroyer, for the extortion is at the end. Devastation ceases, oppressors are gone from the land. A throne will be established in mercy, and one will sit on it in truth in the tent of David, one who seeks justice and who is ready for righteousness. We have heard the pride of Moab. Very proud is he of his haughtiness, his arrogance, his insolence, and his dishonest boasting. Therefore Moab will wail for Moab, everyone will wail. For the sweet cakes of Hareseth, you will moan, truly utterly stricken. For the fields of Heshbon have withered, as well as the vine of Sibmah. Rulers of nations have trampled the choice clusters that reached as far as Jazer and into the desert. Its branches spread out and crossed to the sea. Therefore I will weep bitterly for Jazer, for the vine of Sibmah. I will drench you with my tears, O Heshbon and Elealeh, for on your summer and on your harvest the battle cry has fallen. Gladness and joy are taken away from the fruitful field. In the vineyards, no singing for joy, no happy shouting, no treading wine in the presses. I have made the shouting stop. Therefore my heart moans for Moab like a lyre, and my inward part for Kir-Heres. So it will be when Moab is weary upon the high place and comes to his sanctuary to pray, it will do him no good. This is the word that Adonai spoke concerning Moab in the past. But no, Adonai has spoken, saying, within 3 years, as with the years of a hired worker, the glory of Moab will be disgraced. For all his large population, the remnant will be very small and feeble. Chapter 17, Isaiah. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus will seize as a city and will become a ruinous heap. The cities of Aroer are forsaken. There will be flocks, they will lie down, and no one will frighten them. The fortress will also cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus. The remnant of Aram will be like the glory of Beni Israel. It is a declaration of Adonai Zavat. Jacob's glory fades. Now in that day Jacob's glory will fade, and the fatness of his flesh grow lean. It will be as when the harvester gathers the standing grain and reaps the heads with his arm, as when one gleans grain in the valley of Rephaim. Only gleanings will remain, as when beating an olive tree, 2 or 3 olives at the very top, 4 or 5 at the fruitful tree's branches. It is a declaration of Adonai, God of Israel. In that day a man will look to his Maker, and his eyes will turn to the Holy One of Israel. He will not look to the altars, the work of his hands, nor will he look to what his fingers have made, neither the Asherah poles nor the sun images. In that day the strong cities will be like forsaken forests and treetops that were abandoned because of Beni Israel. They will be laid waste. For you have forgotten the God of your salvation, and you have not remembered the rock of your salvation, the rock of your strength. Therefore you plant delightful plants and set out exotic vines. In that day you plant, you fence it in the morning you made your seeds to sprout. But the harvest will be a heap and a day of grief and an incurable pain. Why the uproar of many peoples, who roar like the roaring of the seas, the rumbling of nations who rush in like the rumbling of mighty waters. The nations will rush in like the rumbling of many waters, but he will rebuke them. So they will flee far away, chased like chaff on the hills before the wind at evening time, sudden terror before morning. They are no more. This is the reward of those who plunder us, and the lot of those who pillage us. Isaiah chapter 18, the Ode of Ethiopia. Oi, the land of whirring wings, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, that send ambassadors by sea and papyrus vessels upon the water, go swift messengers to a nation tall and smooth-skinned, to a people feared far and wide, a nation powerful and oppressive, whose land the rivers divide. All you inhabitants of the world and dwellers on the earth, when a banner is raised on the mountains, look. When a shofar is blown, listen. For so Adonai has said to me, I will remain quiet and look for my dwelling place like shimmering heat and sunshine, like a cloud of dew in the harvest heat. For before the harvest, as soon as blossoming is over, the flower becomes ripening grape. He will cut off the shoots with green vines. He will cut back and remove the twigs. They will be left together for the mountain birds prey and the beasts of the land. The birds of prey will summer on them. All these beasts in the land will winter upon them. At that time tribute will be brought to Adonai Zavat from a nation tall and smooth-skinned, from people feared far and wide, a nation powerful and oppressive, whose land the rivers divide, the place of the name of Adonai Zavat, Mount Zion. Isaiah chapter 19. Egypt will know Adonai. The burden of Egypt. Behold, Adonai rides upon a swift cloud and comes to Egypt. Egypt's idols tremble before him, and Egypt's heart melts within them. I will stir up Egyptian against Egyptian. Everyone will fight against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. The spirit of Egypt will drain within it, and I will confuse its counsel, so they will resort to idols, charmers, mediums, and familiar spirits. I will give the Egyptians into the hand of a cruel master. A fierce king will rule over them. It is a declaration of Adonai Zavat. The waters from the sea will dry up, and the rivers will be drained out. Then the channels will stink. The streams of Egypt will dwindle and dry up. Reeds and rushes will rot. The bulrushes by the Nile, by the mouth of the Nile, and everything sown by the Nile will wither, blow away, and be no more. Then the fishermen will lament. All who cast hooks in the Nile will mourn, and those who spread nets on the waters will languish. Moreover, the workers of the fine flax and the weavers of the white cloth will be ashamed. Her pillars will be crushed. All workers hired will be grieved in soul. The princes of Zoan are utter fools. Pharaoh's wisest counsel are stupid. How can you say to Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings? Where then are your wise men? Let them tell you now. Let them know what Adonai Zavat has purposed against Egypt. The princes of Zoan are fools. The princes of Noph are deceived. The cornerstone of her tribes have led Egypt astray. Adonai has mixed within her a spirit of dizziness. They make Egypt stagger in every work as a drunkard staggers in his vomit. There will be no work for Egypt to do, for head or tail, palm branch or rush. In that day Egypt will be like women trembling with fear because of the shaking hand of Adonai Zavat, which he is about to wave over it. The land of Judah will terrify Egypt. Anyone who mentions it will be afraid, because of what Adonai Zavat has surely purposed against it. In that day 5 cities in the land of Egypt will speak the language of Canaan, swearing allegiance to Adonai Zavat. One used to be called the city of the sun. In that day there will be an altar to Adonai in the middle of the land of Egypt, and next to the border of a pillar to Adonai. It will be a sign as a witness to Adonai Zavat in the land of Egypt, for they will cry to Adonai because of oppressors, and he will send them a savior and defender. He will deliver them. So Adonai will make himself known to Egypt, and the Egyptians will know Adonai. In that day they will worship and sacrifice and offering. They will vow to Adonai and fulfill it. So Adonai will strike Egypt, striking yet healing. So they will return to Adonai, and he will respond to them and heal them. In that day there will be a highway from Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrians will come to Egypt, and the Egypts to Assyria, and the Egyptians will worship with the Assyrians. In that day Israel will be third, along with Egypt and Assyria, a blessing in the midst of the earth. For Adonai Zavat has blessed, saying, Blessed is Egypt, my people, and Assyria, my handiwork, and Israel, my inheritance.